Out is brought to you by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey. Eric Nixick, Ray Sefo, Devin Tells in the corner of Brad Tavares. So he leaned on the UFC PI and our great physical therapist, Dr. Heather Linden, and he asked her, "Can I box?" And she said, "Yeah, you can box." The next thing you know, he's sparring with Francis Ngannou. Heather said, "That's not what I meant." Brett.
Yeah. Can I box? Maybe hit the heavy bag, right? Do some shadow boxing. Get your body moving a little bit after you've had ACL surgery. No. How about I go in there with one of the biggest, baddest heavyweights in the world and start throwing down? Not what you had in mind, but that just shows you the mentality and the work ethic of Brad Tavares. This guy wants to go in there and he wants to scrap, man. He is not afraid to mix it up, but it's going to be an interesting matchup for him because he's got to be calculated on how he uses his power shots. He's got to keep his distance. I expect him to attack that low leg cap and use that calf kick and stay behind his jab to set up those big power shots. If he rushes in throwing big overhands and big left hooks, he's going to get taken down by Antonio Carlos Jr.
Afraid was the key word in that sentence, Paulie. Afraid. That is not a word Brad Tavares understands when you go and spar because you want to against Francis Ngannou. Most people run away from that.
Tavares has been in the top 10 before. He is looking to get back to that perch tonight. The 33-year-old draws the 30-year-old Brazilian Antonio Carlos Jr. You see 1 inch the gap in height, both fighters coming in below the 186-pound divisional limit. 5-inch reach advantage with Antonio Carlos Jr. All right, now for the introductions, here is Bruce.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 11 wins, 4 losses, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, by way of João Pessoa, Paraíba, Brazil. Presenting the Tough Brazil heavyweight winner, Antonio Cara de Sapato Carlos Jr. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 17 wins, 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 185 and 1/2 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Kailua, Hawaii, USA, Brad Tavares! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard, our referee. He will also handle the co-main event later tonight between Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler on pay-per-view. Camilo Oliveira is here. He's got a lot of crowd support in this building as well. Antonio Carlos Jr., the -120 favorite. Brad Tavares is the even money underdog. This fight clock is brought to you by Modelo. You may have seen a tweet a moment ago. One DraftKings bettor has 20 large on Shoeface tonight. See if he cashes.
These guys that bet $20,000 on underdogs, man, they're so brave or they just have way too much money.
Tavares has been ranked as high as number 8 in the world. He fought Yoel Romero back in 2014. He was favored to beat Robert Whittaker in 2015. So a lot of skills, especially when it comes to the stand-up game.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Good work already from Carlos Jr. to use his hands to set up any possible takedowns that he expects to use in this fight.
You saw Antonio Carlos Jr. kind of throw a combination there. And it didn't look like the cleanest combination, but it did get its desired result. You see Tavares having to back up. It's when you back up on a straight line is when he will throw those odd punches and then change levels into a double leg.
The UFC Twitch channel is giving away a one-of-a-kind custom UFC-themed Xbox Series X. Head over to UFC.com/sweepstakes for official rules to enter, and check out the UFC Twitch channel for more ways to win. That's UFC.com/sweepstakes to enter for a custom UFC-themed Xbox Series X. Restrictions apply.
Tavares is doing a really good job of keeping the head down, foot going towards the mat as Carlos Jr. is on that high crotch. It's hard to finish a shot whenever your head's down and your butt's out.
And beautiful flexibility as well from Tavares there. Carlos Jr. had that leg all the way up over his shoulder. He was able to punch him in the face and then pull that leg back. That's a good start for Tavares to be able to defend that takedown already.
Especially when they're fresh, right? Carlos Jr. is a big, strong guy. And he's going to feel stronger. Oh, that is
wow.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that defense there from
Look
Tavares.
at Tavares float the position.
Yeah.
He never got his feet in cement. He just continued to move backwards and float and stuff the head of Carlos Jr.
And we're talking about a man who's coming off ACL surgery, DC, as well.
Well, John asked him a great question in the fighter meetings about what was that first wrestling practice like after an ACL surgery. Right there, the way he defended that shows that he's very confident in the recovery that he got after having that surgery.
And you do see some of that Antonio Carlos Jr. power. Sometimes people fancy him a specialist. Did have a couple knockouts on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil at heavyweight. Has yet to produce a knockout as a pro. Those were exhibition fights, but he is not a one-trick pony.
And that's why he's able to get in on these shots so far, John. Even though he hasn't been able to execute them fully and get the fight to the ground, he's setting them up. He's doing the right thing so far by throwing big punches. And like you said, DC, maybe not the sharpest or the cleanest combinations, but they're landing. Although Tavares will take some shots.
Absolutely.
Be worried about that.
And that's got to be discouraging for Carlos Jr. to have gotten in so deep on 2 occasions and has not had any success with taking Brad Tavares down. I love how Tavares attacks the hands and he keeps his left foot on the mat. He keeps all of his weight going down, not allowing Carlos Jr. to get his leg up and start to create motion to get him taken down.
Tavares is a great athlete as he absorbs the leg kick there. Was a star linebacker on the high school football gridiron.
Oy, nice calf kick there from Tavares.
Oh, that got checked.
Wow, nice body kicking from Carlos Jr. Showing some good stand-up and then transitions into a shot. But again, Tavares is...
Now he's going to have
those
more
legs out.
trouble. Yep, he's going to have more trouble defending. Oh, great job by Tavares. Moving that lockup from underneath his butt up to around his body.
And then immediately pushing on this arm, trying to break this lock from behind him. Yeah, really impressive takedown defense thus far from Tavares.
And as you watch these guys fight and watch them compete and wrestle, you see that it's going to be very difficult for Shoeface to get takedowns on the legs of Tavares. He should start to look at different ways of trying to take him down. Body lock, stepping in front, tripping him. He's going to have to trick Tavares.
Yeah, 3 for 3 so far on the takedown defense from Tavares.
Carlos Jr. staying heavy here in the clinch. Looked like that was right on the cup.
Stay right there. Take a step back for me.
And right in front of our broadcast position here.
Yeah, that we heard that one.
Yeah, it's not good when you hear it.
Over there.
Oh,
take your time. Take your time.
You see that ticker down in the bottom of your screen. As many of you know by now, Brad Tavares will have 5 minutes with which to recover.
Okay, Brad.
It's like, nah, not that great.
Take your time. Just come away from your corner, please, buddy. Good man. Take your time. It's a hard shot.
I've always encouraged guys to try.
It's accidental. Just be mindful.
Try to just take as much time as you need in order to feel better when you take a shot like that, because those types of shots can change everything.
They don't listen to you.
No, they never do.
No, they don't. I don't know anything.
All right, waning seconds of our opening round, which has had a little bit of competition. Round 2 coming up.
With the Home Depot app, your phone is your most powerful tool. Find just what you need in a snap. Get a second opinion in seconds and have it all delivered free. Download today. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
For those of us who secretly like when the syrup touches all the other food, we humbly offer the sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The emerging stars in the NBA.
It's NBA on ESPN time. Lakers Celtics on ABC.
Once upon a time, there was a young basketball player who had dreams of becoming one of the greatest of all time. What you come to realize is the most important thing is how your career touches those around you.
All right, back live for round two. Paul Felder, one of your striking coaches and one of the better head coaches in the game, Eric Nixick, with some advice for Brad Tavares there after round one.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about throwing his right hand to the chest, because Carlos Jr. is obviously trying to level change off of Tavares' shots. And they want him to just put a jab out there in front of this low kick. But you can take a look at Carlos Jr.'s lead knee is already a bruised mess at this point.
Yes.
I mean, Carlos Jr. hangs that chin up in the air when he's evading.
I mean, that's a bruised mess is a great way to put it.
And he hasn't taken many of those kicks. Tells you the power of Tavares.
And if he starts to set it up, that's what's going to distract him and be able to land that a little better because...
Oh! Nice right hand there by Tavares.
Oh,
there it is.
Nice job from Carlos Jr. to time that.
Tavares has got to be super careful, giving up his back to try. Oh, great job by Tavares.
Wow.
Wow.
Incredible.
I mean, that was fantastic. The way he pushed Carlos Jr. down towards his legs.
And just pop right back up. Now, he's in deep on this shot.
He's not finishing this.
But we saw him defend this earlier by pulling him up onto his waist and then fighting the grip and getting out and turning off the cage beautifully and then throwing combinations as soon as he gets some space.
Paul, he's got to get that lock up above his butt. It cannot stay beneath the butt.
He's trying to dig that underhook or pull.
Look how he's lifting him up. Once he lifts him up, he's pretty safe.
He's already on the butt. If he can pull up onto his lower back, he can start really fighting this takedown. The hands are already broken, it looks like. Yep, the grip is broken. That's a good start. There we go. That's got to be frustrating for Carlos Jr.
Well, to get your takedown finally and not being able to control